Bay High School. And thank you all for coming here and coming to check out the super diverse panel of careers that we have. Just really quick to get an idea of who we have with us this morning. Could I have any freshmen in here raise their hands? Okay, a couple of freshmen and sophomores. Great. Juniors and seniors. Awesome. Okay. To start us off, I'll just have the panelists go down to your name and your occupation and how long you've been in your field.
Hi, my name is Katy, and I'm a flight attendant. And I have been a flight attendant since 2015, so going on 9 years.
Hi, my name is Veronica Mora. I'm a loan officer, and I've been in business for 38 years.
Hi, I'm Tomberlin. I'm a chiropractor. I guess I've been in business for 5 months, but I've been a chiropractor for 3 years.
Hi, I'm Liliana. I'm a scientist in immunology, and I've been a scientist since 2001. It's been a long time.
So to start off our questions, to get a bit of an overview of your career, can you tell us about how you got into this field? And did you always know that you wanted to do this as your job?
All right. So my dad's a pilot, so I've been familiar with the aviation industry my whole life. I didn't become a flight attendant until I was 25, so it took me all that time of going to college, in and out. I actually never finished college, because I just kept switching degrees and nothing really interested me, and I decided, you know, I want to travel, I want to go see the world, I want to have some fun. So that's really kind of what initiated me becoming a flight attendant.
Hi, I actually, out of high school, I graduated a little early in February of 1984, and I started working for United Savings Bank as a receptionist. And I was asked by my manager if I wanted to learn how to be a loan processor. And I said, what's a loan processor? And she's like, someone who gathers all the information from clients so they can buy their home. And I said, okay, I'll do it, but what if I don't like it? I don't want to lose my job. I help my family financially. And she's like, you're going to like it. Do you like math? I said, that's my favorite subject. So she's like, you're going to like it. I said, okay, perfect. So I became a loan processor. And after that, I started seeing what the loan officer's checks looked like compared to mine. So then I went to CSM and Skyline and got some real estate classes and then took my real estate license and became a loan officer. And I've been doing that for, again, 38 years.
When I was in high school, I wanted to be a physical therapist. And then I went to UC Santa Cruz, and the classes to do that, I thought at the time were too hard. So I quit that, and I got a degree in environmental science. And then I graduated in 2019 and moved back to Half Moon Bay and was looking for jobs, but nothing really struck what I wanted to do. I tend to have a lot of energy, so I'm not someone who can sit at a desk all day long. And then my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and our chiropractor was the one who noticed it in him and was able to guide him on where to go. And I really think if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have gotten the help he needed at the time. So I saw that, and she just inspired me to help families, and I wanted to do it on the coast because that's where I grew up.
So as you can see by my accent, I'm from Brazil. When I was in high school, I was just fascinated by biology and genetics. So I wanted to be a geneticist because it was kind of a cool thing by the time. I loved the Mendel laws, and then, but I hated all the other stuff for biology. So I ended up going to biomedical school. So it was kind of a pre-med school. And then after that, I really was passionate about science. And I want to discover things and make people's lives better. So then I decided to do a PhD. So just after college, I went to a PhD in Brazil for 5 years, and then I worked there as a scientist for a couple more years. And then I had this dream to come to the United States because science here is a lot better. There is a lot more resources than we have there. So then I applied for a position at Stanford, and then I got accepted. I was like, oh my God, a Brazilian person coming to Stanford, that was like just amazing. So I worked at Stanford for 5 years, and then I got this job that I am now, and I'm a scientist in immunology. I don't know who is familiar with what immunology is. So we study how our body fights things, but also sometimes our body fights too much and that becomes autoimmune disease. That you might have heard about psoriasis or intestinal bowel disease. So we are researching medications for this disease in a way that we can take it as a pill. So that's what the company that I work does.
Awesome. So, for your field, did you need any special certification, education, or even like apprenticeship to get into your field? And if so, can you tell us a little bit about that?
So to become a flight attendant, you don't need a college degree. I had about, 7 years of working. I did waitressing. I also worked in the customer service department. I worked at Home Depot. And I think that's what gave me the upper hand when I was interviewing, was customer service. But I know a lot of flight attendants come from various backgrounds. A lot of them do have degrees, a lot of nurses, just people who want to travel and see the world and kind of less stressful jobs. I see a lot of people come from a less stressful careers.
So to be a loan officer, you do not need a degree. When I went to CSM and Skyline, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had no clue what I wanted to do. But when I started working as a receptionist and became a processor, and I knew that I didn't need a degree, I didn't have to go to a university because my parents could not afford a university, I was able to pay the tuition to go to Skyline College and CSM. And when I decided to be a loan officer, the only thing I needed to do is get a real estate license. At that time, it cost probably no more than $300 to get my real estate license. So that's all I needed to do is get a real estate license.
To be a chiropractor, I don't think you need an undergraduate degree, but you do have to have prereqs to get into chiropractic school. You have to have a high school diploma, and then your prereqs done, and then chiropractic school is 3.5 to 4 years. And then you're a chiropractor.
To be a scientist, you can either go to college and then you can start working labs, and then you can either decide to do a PhD or not. If you want to go to the academic growth, you have to have a PhD. But if you want to work for biotechs, there are many positions that doesn't require a PhD. And also you can be a scientist in all the fields that you can imagine. So I'm a scientist in immunology, but you can be a scientist in chemistry, engineer, you name it, history, you can math, you can be a scientist in anything.
So for you, what does a typical day look like? A typical working day look like?
I would say it's not very typical. It varies, but I mean, the first thing you do is you check in. If your flight is at 10 o'clock, you either got to be there at 9 a.m. right at the gate, or a little bit earlier. You check in, you meet your crew. A lot of times you don't know the people that you're working with. It's your first time meeting them. There's a lot of employees. I work for United Airlines, so there's about 24,000 of us flight attendants. Check in, you're on a bunch of different aircrafts, so you have to be familiar with a bunch of different aircrafts. You have to do your safety checks, and if there's any specials, if there's people who need extra care, if there's any weather or turbulence that you're going to experience, you have to get briefed on that. And then you're going anywhere, you know. Sometimes you don't even know where you're going to end up because weather or delays, and that's one thing that I love about my job that's super exciting. You don't know what it's going to be like. So.
My typical day is I go through my pipeline of all my buyers that are buying a home today to make sure that I have everything in their folder to be able to get them their pre-approval and get them into a house. I also am a true believer of education, so I do a lot of lunch and learns for realtor partners. This year I put a Wednesday workout workshop for my realtor partners, so at 11 a.m. I have from 10 to 30 realtors on the line on Zoom and going over all the programs that are available. For instance, I'm very proud to be able to help a lot of people here in the coast recently. We're one lender that does mobile home loans, so we just closed our last one yesterday for mobile homes. But what we do is we truly educate, which again is really important to you as one day you'll be a buyer. We work with your realtor partner to make sure that we're putting you on a good loan, that we're going to help you keep that house that you're going to buy. Because I think everyone here, raise your hand, want to be a homeowner one day, right? So again, what I do, I love it because I do help everyone that I can to the American dream of home ownership.
My day's kind of like Katie's, but not as excited. I'm not going anywhere, but it does change every day. So typically I'll get into the office about 2 hours before my first client. To get ready for a client, I basically have to do all the work that came in the night before. So I'm answering emails, calling people back, scheduling people, changing things. I don't have a receptionist or anyone in my office, so it's just me. I have to set up the voicemail so it calls and forwards when I'm with people, so the phone isn't ringing. And then I start seeing clients, and I'll typically see clients for like 6 hours a day. I see 3 people an hour, so it's about 18 people a day, give or take. Normally more around 10 because I need breaks to do things like eat. And then, yeah, I see clients at the end of the day. I have to close up and basically do everything I did in the morning, but the flip side of it. Yeah, make sure everyone's scheduled for the next day and ready to go.
I normally get to the lab, and the first thing that I go is go to the fridge and take the cell culture media because I work with cells in the lab in the place, so they need to warm up. And then I go and I write my protocol to make sure that I didn't forget anything, that I have all the reagents that I needed for that day experiments. And then I go to the lab and I start doing experiments, and then some experiments takes like days. So on some intervals I use to analyze the data and make conclusion. I also have meetings where I need to present these results for the whole team to update them on results that I have. And then I mail people, sometimes I train people too. So my days also like not very consistent, it changes every day. The protocols change, and sometimes in the middle of the protocol, the idea just comes to my mind, and then I change everything, and I move. And if I see the experiments going wrong, I just like sometimes the cells don't grow enough to do the experiment that day, and then I have to change everything and start all over again.
All right, for these next questions, I'd like to get a little bit more specific with your careers and get a little bit deeper into how to get into your careers. I heard that for a lot of you, college degrees and undergraduate degrees aren't necessary, but for a lot of the students here pursuing a college degree, can you tell us like what a usual college degree for people in your profession would be?
Like I said, for my profession, you don't need a college degree, but I do see a lot of nurses, people in real estate come.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard question as well, because as a loan officer, you don't need a degree. They're saying to become a realtor, you're going to start needing a degree. So when I decided to go to CSM and Skyline, because I was doing both for different classes, I wasn't sure what I was going to be. So when I knew that I didn't have to spend, you know, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in a university, and I can become a loan officer with just getting my real estate license, that was a plus for me because, again, financially, I didn't have that from my parents to be able to spend that. We don't have a lot of benefits that you guys have today. Even I think someone mentioned that community colleges are free now. We still had to pay them in those days, and minimum wage was probably in the 5s then when I was working. But again, you don't need a degree, so a lot of people like to become a loan officer because you do not need a degree. I've helped actually a few young kids out of high school recently. They were 19, their parents told them about what I was doing. They came to see me and they're like, I hate to say this, but I don't like school. I want to do what you do. And I said, well, you still need to get your license. So if you are truly, you want to do this, I'll put you under my wing and I will train you. And the 2 young kids that are 19 today are kicking, I don't want to say that, but are doing really well, are doing really well. So again, a lot of people like what I do because number 1, you don't need a degree. Number 2, you just need your real estate license and you can make as much money as you want depending on how hard you want to work.
You can major in anything to go to chiropractic school. You don't even, like I said earlier, you don't have to have a 4-year degree. But I have a Bachelor's of Arts in Environmental Studies, so I don't even technically have a BS. But a lot of my friends that went to school and had like the science background, knew that was what they wanted to do, have kinesiology degrees, human biology, or biology probably. All it really does is it sets you up so you don't have to take as many prereqs before school, but you'll end up with the same degree at the end.
As I mentioned before, to become a scientist, you can go to community college, you can go to college in biology or related areas, and then you can decide if you want to do a PhD and get a more deeper. But I think the most important thing is like you have to have 2 things. That one is curiosity, and the other one is creativity. But that's what is going to drive most of your days.
I was just going to add that, like I said, a lot of flight attendants don't have degrees, but they get into the field and they have the time and flexibility that they go ahead and get their degree while they're a flight attendant. So that's another option. A lot of them also become pilots while they're working, so that's, and United even helps pay for that as well. So you can kind of find your way a little bit while you're doing the job. So.
That's great, yeah.
I have a question. So for the flight attendant, Katy, how many days a week? Like, tell us a little bit of your schedule. I think that's different.
It's very flexible. Like, so I have a 4-year-old and I like to stay home. And last month I didn't work. I chose to stay home. But I know flight attendants that work 6 days a week, 10-hour days, and they just have 1 day off. And they work like 200 hours a month. So it's very flexible. That's the awesome thing. You can make as little or as much as you want. So.
Yeah, that's great. So for your job, are there any helpful or necessary entry-level jobs to progress into your current position?
So customer service, I really do think helped me. I remember being in the interview process, and there are people who did have college degrees who didn't get hired. So I know that they're looking for people who have experience with other people and are friendly too. That's a prerequisite.
Yes, actually that's a great question. Loan officers, assistants, we hire them every day, young, out of high school. That's what I've done for a lot of the agents that have been under me. They came in as loan officers assistants. We pay them the minimum wage and, just to teach them the ropes, and if they do like it, then I do push them to go get your license. Let me help you grow your business. And again, it's minimum wage, but you're working maybe 4 hours a day, so you can still go to college. And then if you love it, then we can help you to become a loan officer. And like I said today, it costs a couple $100s to get your real estate license to become a loan officer.
Some chiropractic offices will have chiropractic assistants, but the one thing that I noticed that sets a good chiropractor aside from someone who maybe isn't bringing in as many clients is customer service, kind of like Katie said, and being able to talk to people and explain what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how it's going to help them. So anything working with people, I was a nanny for years, and now I work with kids, so being able to, if you want to, like the kind of people that you want to work with, having experience working with them before so that you're not in a doctor role and it's the first time you're talking with some type of person.
And for science, there are so many entry levels that you can take, like during some places have positions for technicians for high school students. There is on college you can do TA, that is teaching assistant, that you can help in lab classes. You can go to labs and become a technician or a research assistant. This is all going to help you to go further. And internship positions as well.
Veronica, I wanted to ask you really quick, can you tell us sort of about what the real estate license process is like?
Yes, actually, one of my partners who was raised and born here, Bianca Carrillo, she actually came to my home one day and said, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, okay, you want to do what I do, that's fine. I said, all you have to do is sign up online. ProShop is a school that will help you to get your real estate license. You can do it online today. It costs a couple $100, but they do give you the classes to get your real estate license. They also have another class that shows you how to pass your real estate exam, and also CSM, Skyline. I don't know about Kenyatta, but all those colleges have real estate courses that you can take that will help you to get your real estate license as well. But that is all you need, and she probably got her license in less than 90 days.
So interviews are critical to getting your dream job. Can you guys tell us about what the interview process for your job was like?
Okay, so at interviewing, for me, for example, as a sales manager today, and having someone coming into my office that I see is motivated, I interview you and I'm like, why would you like to do this job? You know, what's important to you? Obviously, you have to love to work with people. Everyone's goal is to become a homeowner, so you are doing one of the coolest, funnest jobs to make that person a homeowner. So I interview you as super casual to see how you are. Are you a caring person? And I'll start you as an intern to learn it. And if you love it, then I'm going to push you to get your license. And then once you get your license, what I do is, again, take you out with me to meet realtor partners, to be part of my educations to realtors. I also do a lot of buyer seminars and just put you under my wing to teach you how to love your job and be able to help others as well.
I'm self-employed, so there was no interview process. I just decided I wanted to do it, and I did it. But I did interview for jobs before that, and in chiropractic, it's very skills-based. So a lot of it was, you would talk, everyone pretty much owns their own practice. You're not working for like a big corporation or a hospital for the most part. So you meet the person whose practice it is, you talk through, basically they just make sure that they like you and you're nice enough to deal with their clients. And then you would go through the day adjusting their clients, showing them that you know you're competent in your job and you know how to do it. In chiropractic, there's various techniques. So you typically would interview at offices that do the same technique that you're interested in, or see the kind of person that you want to work with. But yeah, they're also pretty informal, and it's mostly like making connection and making sure that you're a competent chiropractor.
Yeah, for the scientists, be passionate about science is one of like the things that they look most. You don't have to have the skills right away because most of the places are willing to teach you what to do and how to do things. And the other thing is be able to work as a team, because we cannot do things by ourselves. It's a very teamwork job, so you're always having help of people or helping people to do their stuff. And in the end of the day, all that you want to do is make sure that you're giving something to the patients that are going to cure them and not make their life worse. So also be very responsible and take notes and make sure that you are doing things in a very ethical way.
One thing I will add, sorry, no matter what field you are in, having connections within that field always helps. So I know obviously you guys all live in a very small town and you know what it's like to go to Safeway and run into everyone you know. So those connections, which might seem like super annoying now, you can't skip class and go to Safeway because you're going to see your mom's friend. When you're older, it really helps to know people and be able to meet people in that way. So hold on to those connections.
The interview process for me was pretty exciting. So I applied to a few different airlines. A couple of them make you do video interviews, which is kind of awkward, so I'd practice at those if you're interested. And then, so I just did an application for United Airlines. They called me within a week and flew me down to Houston. I got to fly to go to an interview, which was pretty cool. And then it was intimidating but exciting. There were like 50 people there. And it was very fast. They had you read something, they wanted to hear your voice, and answer a few questions, and then it was like, all right, you're on to the second process. And they also didn't let you know if you got the job right there. You had to go home, but like Morgan was saying, my dad's a pilot, and I think that helped me a lot because you understand the industry before you're going into it. And it's a unique industry and a unique lifestyle. And one thing they wanted to know was, are you okay basically missing holidays? Because a lot of times you'll be working on holidays. And so definitely, like Morgan said, get familiar with the field, find somebody who's in it.
So I would like to know about what the early days on the job were like for you and how you set yourself up to succeed in your field.
They were exciting, they were fun, everything was new. You jump into training, you do 5 weeks of training right away. Now I think it's more like 10 weeks of training. And then you're off to a new city, you don't even know where you're gonna live. They have like 10 options and you rank them. And I got shipped to San Francisco and it was super exciting. I lived in a crash pad. I lived with 9 other girls in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So it was fun and crazy. And then yeah, traveling. So when you first get hired, you're on what they call reserve. So you're on call. So you have so many days a week that you're on call. And you could be going anywhere. You could be going international. You could be going to San Jose. You could be, you could be going nowhere, but you could be going some exciting places. And you're working with new people all the time too. So it was just a thrill.
Yeah, that's fine. Just what were the early days of your job like and how did you set yourself up to succeed?
So again, I honestly started when I was 20 years old, seeing other agents, how well they were doing, made me plan my day. I seen what they did and do and what they did, so that I knew my biggest thing I had to do is get up every day and say I love my job, which I still do today after 38 years, and what do I need to do? I need to get up, I need to be in front of my realtor partners, I need to educate people, I need to be in front of buyers, so I would plan my day to this day, my weekly day of what I'm going to do every day to educate people, to be able to help them to purchase their home. But passion, you have to love what you do. You really have to love what you do, and you have to know that you can do it. If you see others doing something, there's no reason why you can't. And the nicest thing about this is you can get your license in 3 months. You don't pay a lot of money. And even if you don't like it at the end of the day, because if you are shy, that's going to be difficult because you're out there trying to talk to realtor partners to get their business. Thank God for social media today because you can post everything to have buyers come out to your trainings. But my daily thing is just picking up the phone, making appointments with realtors, taking them out for coffee, we'll invite them to our lunch and learns and our, our trainings that we do every Wednesday now.
The first days were hard, I won't lie. I started planning a business during the last year of chiropractic college, which I was taking 4 board exams during as well. So I didn't mention this earlier, but to be a chiropractor, there's 5 board exams that you have to take throughout the years. They're not only pricey, but they are a culmination of everything you've learned in the year prior. And the last one is a mock exam with patients. So in the last year, I was doing that, and I was trying to build a business. So you're trying to bring in clients, you're marketing, you're meeting people, trying to stay in the community while also studying for exams. Once that finished, the beginning of my business was pretty much the same thing, but on a different scale now because I wasn't in school. So every day was dedicated to bringing people in and trying to educate people, like Veronica said, on what I do, how I do it, and how it can help them. Yeah, I think I'm still in the beginning days, so it's not as hard now. There is like more leeway with what to do, but it feels different. Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course. Yes.
So how is it different for you running your own business, right, versus if you had a chiropractor you want to work for someone else?
Yeah, so, excuse me. I had looked to work for other people before, and I chose to open my own because, well, I'll give you some insight on who I am. I like to be boss. So I wanted to work somewhere where I got to decide what time I came in. I got to decide who I saw that day and basically what I did with my life. If I worked for someone else, it's like what you hear of is like a typical, there's hours to be there and you have to be there whether there's clients or not. I also would be making significantly less money even though I'm still starting out working for someone else. I actually almost took a job in San Mateo and I had kind of a freak out because I realized that I'm not someone who wants to be told where I have to be at 8 a.m. every day for the rest of my life. So that was just hard for me. So I opened my own, and that's how it's different. I guess there's more flexibility.
So my early days on the college that I went, that was the only one that I had the option to go. Didn't have a research lab, so what I did, I went to a clinical analysis lab to become a trainee there. For no money, but then I started learning how to pipette and do stuff, and then I decided to, the city close to where I used to live was a big university that had research labs, so then I decided to go there and knock on all the professors' doors and ask for a position. So I got a list of people that would do what I liked, and then I went there, I ended up finding a professor there that she told, I don't need anyone now, but I know that my husband, this is a professor here, needs someone. So then I started going, while I was still in college, I used to take a bus 5 a.m., go there, stay the whole day there, and then go to college at night. But I would say that it paid the effort. And in the beginning was super cool because I was doing a lot of things that I have never seen before and learning a lot of things that was completely new, like how to see a protein. Like you can see a protein in a gel, or you can see a bacteria in a microscope, and then recognize things that, and then you can construct your own bacteria. So I ended up constructing 2 different strains of bacteria to become like a vaccine for study. And because I did all this hard work of waking up so early to go to the lab, when they published the paper with that 2 constructs that I made, they decided to put my initials as the name of the bacteria. So that was like super cool.
Yeah, so we have about 10 minutes left. So I'd like to open up to the audience to ask any questions. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question before answering, please?
Yeah, she asked if I was able to go on international flights or just domestic. So when you're a reserve flight attendant, you could go anywhere. You can go international, you get your passport right away. I kind of didn't like to work that much, so I would get out of work. But I know flight attendants right away, their first trip was, you know, international and super exciting.
Can you talk about seniority in your field? All of us?
So seniority is a huge deal in the airline industry. The beginning years can be rough depending on, you know, what the staffing is like, what the airline needs are like. It was pretty good for me, but I know there are some horror stories from the beginning of just being worked really hard. But you know, I would say 5 years in, well, first of all, you're on call until you're senior enough to get what they call a line, so it's a schedule. And I would say it only took me about 6 months and I had an actual schedule. I went back on reserve during COVID and all that, but the flexibility has been great for me since I would say it probably takes about a couple of years at most before you can be comfortable and manipulate your schedule to how you want. So.
Yeah, and I want to add to that as well from the other question is, as a loan officer, you are your own boss, which I love, because I kind of like to control too. So you are your own boss, so you can work 10 hours a week, you can work 60 hours a week. It's what you want to do. So because I've been doing this for 30 years, seniority, I have that now because I have so many realtor partners that I've been working with for the last 30 years. To have seniority, I think in my field, takes at least 2 years for people to get to know you, where you feel that you can walk up to any realtor and say, I want your business. What is it going to take to get your business? I've been doing this for so many years. I'm bilingual. I do every type of loan you can think of. But I think in my field, it probably takes a couple years to have seniority. But again, you can work the hours that you want because you are considered self-employed.
I can tell you in a couple of years what it feels like to have seniority. I think it probably is just about more connections in the community once you get far along. Yeah, and you'll have a bigger client base as well the longer you've worked.
For the science seniorities, when you start having your own group, then you can manage people, scientists in the lab, and then everyone working together. So I started in this company as a scientist one, and then I went as a scientist two, and then a senior scientist, and now I'm a director of immunology. So I still do work in the lab, but then it's more responsibility. You have to present the stuff. You are the face for your team. And of course, like giving credit to everyone that did the work, but you are the person that needs to orchestrate how the research is going to be done and with timelines, because you have people waiting for your results to make decisions.
A couple of you have mentioned some stories, like you mentioned, wow, you got to put your initials on, what did you say, a bacteria strain? Super cool. And Katy, you mentioned horror stories. Like, I'd be curious to know, anybody have some like awesome story you want to tell, something that happened on the job?
Yeah, since I have a microphone. Okay. I have a really cool story that I want to share. My son today, well not literally today, but he's 29 years old. He went to Sequoia High School in Redwood City. He was very involved in soccer. That was his life. He played soccer with all our Sequoia boys and Juventus soccer boys. I had a lot of their friends that would come over and hang out with us. And one of them, his name is Eric, his mom was here from Mexico. She was here illegal, and he became a DACA. He was a DACA, and he told me, I want to buy my house for my mother one day. I'm going to get emotional, sorry. And I said, okay, let's do it. You're going to buy your house for your mother. He graduated from high school. He didn't go to college. He went to work for Ceremony Ford in Daly City. 2 years ago, he came to me and he said, I have enough money to buy a house for my mother. And I said, really? And then I go, well, do you still have your DACA? And he's like, yes. I go, then let's buy your mom a house. So he saved probably $30,000 and he bought his mother a home with DACA. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with DACA. But that to me is one of my favorite stories, because here's someone that went to just to high school, but wanted to do something and become someone, and he is making amazing money, and he's probably told me in another year he's probably gonna buy another home. But his dream of home ownership for his mother came, and it happened. And that's what I'm saying is, you guys all here can become that person, not to just buy your mother a home, get into the business, and make good money to buy your other home. But that's one of my favorite stories in my 30 years in the business, 38 years.
Okay, I have a fun story. So I used to do research with mice, and then I had to work with like a little tiny, cute mice, but they were like the worst. Because they were so small, they would jump everywhere. So one day I was going to inject them, and then I have a technique to scruff them and keep them in my hands. And then somehow that mouse escaped from my hands and jumped on my cap. So I got so freaked out that I took my cap away, and then I was running around the room to try to catch the little mouse.
Okay, I think I'm ready. I have so many fun stories to share just from like things that have happened in the office, but my favorite actually happened yesterday with my dad. As I said, my dad has Parkinson's disease, which means that he has a slight toe-rolling tremor in one of his hands, so it kind of goes like this. And when he talks at all, people always think he's really nervous, but he's not. It's just a neurological disorder. And basically what it means is that his nervous system is completely overwhelmed at all times, so his hand tremors like that because it's getting signals to move when it shouldn't. He will never let me adjust him, ever. Even at his own home. He's very weird about me adjusting him. And he would be so embarrassed if he knew I was telling the story. But he came in yesterday and he finally let me adjust him because he messed his back up. Chiropractic is not just for pain, by the way, but he thinks it is. So I'm adjusting him, and he flipped over on the back when we were just talking, and I was working on his neck. And I realized that his tremor had stopped going. And his lip kind of goes too, and I noticed his lip had stopped moving. And I just stopped, and I was like, do you notice anything different? He's like, yeah, I feel like I could take a nap. It's like, no, your whole body has relaxed, and you're so calm. You're not tremoring anymore. His eyes, who were actually looking straight and fogged over like he normally does. So I think like I got into chiropractic to help people in general, but it's like the most amazing thing you can help someone so close to you.
Just the trips that you go on, I would say one of the cooler trips that I got to do was we got to do some of the Maui relief. So we got to take an empty plane there and then bring all these people back and just listen to their stories, and a lot of them heartbreaking, but a lot of them filled with hope as well. So another interesting one is when you bring the Burning Man people back. It's a stinky flight, but there's lots of stories. So.
All right. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that's happened on a flight?
I don't work as much as some of these flight attendants, so I don't have like as crazy. We've only had to kick one person off. For me that's pretty good. He was just kind of wild. He was at the back and telling me basically how you get to smuggle your drugs on the plane, and that's just something you don't do. But the gate agents, they were really good. They figured out a way to get him off without him making a big ruckus. They're like, hey, we found a direct flight for you, come our way. And he got off willingly, so. Let me think about it.
Okay, we probably have time for one more question. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Your question was, what class would we recommend for you to take, any classes to take here in high school? For me, it was math. And thank God that was my favorite subject, was math. As a loan officer, all you do is numbers, and it's not even the difficult, it's just times, divisions, percentage. So for me, it was just math.
I guess sciences, biology would be pretty big, but really just take classes you're interested in, because it's going to lead you to what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was big on math, and that helps a lot. Working a lot because every day I need to do calculations of dilutions and how much I'm going to add of X, Y, Z in a tube to make the reaction to work. So, and biology, like health science.
Yeah, I just say knowledge is power, right? So just what you want to learn, what you want to discover, and try to really take it in, and not the stuff that's boring to you, I don't know.
Awesome. That's about all the time that we have for today. I want to thank our panelists for taking time out of their schedules. Yeah, thank you for helping us understand your very unique careers. If there are any additional questions that you want to ask, I'm sure some of our panelists will be around for a couple of minutes. And I have two things before you go. First thing, be sure you get your attendance marked before you leave. I think you can do that with Ms. Longacre. And then second, the next career panel is on March 15th. So yeah, thank you for coming.